Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
As always, guys, hope you're subscribed to all three channels and check in daily. We'll do our best to keep you abreast of everything that's happening out there in the world from a very different perspective because, again, it's with us, it's what we perceive and what we get information-wise from, you can say, non-3D entities, so to speak, from our guides, from intuition, from higher self, all the above. And so it's not like just simply, well, Plato said that you got to look over here. No. Or, well, if so-and-so, the scribe wrote that. No. Again, we think that, and we feel strongly what humanity needs to do is to develop its gifts of discernment, develop your intuitive powers. They are there. They are unfortunately dormant in most, but I bet you most of you are awakening, if not already awakened.
And they're definitely waking up in so many people, and a couple things, we give our perspective too from personal experience and just life in general, and having an understanding of the way things work through what we have experienced. So it comes from various different ways. And when it comes to reading out of textbooks, and when it comes to all the experts and those people that say you can trust us, that's not where we get our information.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And we do want to thank our Patreons. Thank you, Christina, our newest Patreon, and also those that are supporting on Ko-Fi. To get us and learn more about us, just go to evolutionaryenergyarts.com, and that'll tell you more about what we do when we're not doing videos, which is most of the time, believe it or not. And, we're going to talk about what we were kind of talking about a little bit on the other channel. We've seen all the headlines. America's decline in life expectancy speaks volumes about our problems. This one, decline of the West. Politicians are right, the West is declining, but wrong about the causes. Japan unveils proposal to promote marriage right and raise the birth rate. Not enough people are getting married anymore. Not enough people are having enough kids in Japan and in most, really, of what we would call the civilized Western nations, the European nations. The U.S.'s population would actually have declined if it wasn't for immigration, and that's the same for so much of Europe. Fertility rates are plummeting. Sperm counts are more than halved. What is going on? As we were saying, it's the planned obsolescence of Homo sapiens. And you hear, like this tweet here, Dr. Claire Craig, saying, what is going on? These miscarriage rates are just unheard of. We've never seen anything like this before. Well, let me introduce you to a possible future for some of humanity in a very scary kind of realization of where we're heading. Could this be literally the fate of many of the Homo sapiens that's on the planet right now?
It really does not look good. And unfortunately, I do have to keep my words quite cryptic, because I don't like it when we really do. We get threats. There's people out there who do not like the information that we share. But just to all the parents out there, please understand what your children are doing if you're not watching them. Know the video games that they play, the most popular ones, that there could be information in there that could be steering them in a different direction. And there's places out there that you can go to get certain things done to your human body that really is not natural. And when children are at their youngest and they're most vulnerable, they're getting pulled in via certain areas. And say you're like so many other people and you've been traumatized. Maybe you're a single mom. Maybe you're a couple going through divorce and the children are kind of out on the outskirts, you know, dealing with stuff on their own. You can be the best mom in the world. You can be the best dad in the world. But here's the thing. There's entities that are coming in through back doors that should be safe havens for your children to go and express themselves, go and maybe even talk to other people who are going through the same thing, maybe even make some friends. Just please understand, and I hope I don't get in too much trouble making this video, but I can't keep quiet about it because it's just affecting way too many, and we're on a course that is really not good. And that's as much information as I can give you without us becoming like a huge target, but please know what your children are doing.
Not like we're not already a huge target. True. You know, absolutely. As we've been sharing with you guys, we've been hacked. We've had all sorts of things happen in our lives, and we've shared them over the years. And I've seen one of these guys, a tall gray, face to face, totally face to face, for I would say about 75 to 90 seconds. And, you know, the grays, there's many different species, many different races of grays. Many of the ones that operate here on the Earth plane are, believe it or not, they're created. I mean, many of these are created in labs. They're created from genetic material from cows. They are genetically taken from other species as well. You know, what was that show, 411, Missing 411? Do you know how many millions of people that go missing every year? And so many of them go missing in state forests, national parks, and just no trace. Sometimes, you know, there's like shoes sitting there and there's no more, you know, body, no blood, no nothing. They're just gone. It's like somebody beamed them up. Beam me up, Scotty. Well, the reality is there is an intergalactic slave trade. There's also a trade out there for genetic material. And genetic material is valuable because it can create servitor races, servitor beings that will basically carry out the will of anybody that is in control of them. And, you know, you think about it, if you were to do an autopsy on various forms of gray, you would find various things, some more biological, some not that much biological. There is a mix going on, and there is most definitely a AI, artificial intelligence component to this.
Mm-hmm. And it's really disturbing. And I see this trend growing and growing and growing where people really are finding themselves in situations where they're learning things that, well, maybe later on in our future, maybe we're not male nor female. Maybe we just are of an existence, and maybe we're just serving some type of entity that is not... that is not, you know, doesn't have our best interest at heart. You know, an entity that just simply wants to be served.
Absolutely. And, you know, I can't tell you how many encounters we've had and how many times we've seen grays. They're very, very populous. And again, there's many different sizes of them and different types of them, depending on the genetic material that they're taken from. And, you know, the little ones that we typically see, those are probably the most common, I would say. The tall ones, the one I saw was somewhere between 8 and 9 feet tall. And, you know, they tend to oversee these smaller ones that you're more familiar with, you know, 4 to 5 feet tall. But they're all basically part of the Borg. They are all under AI control because the AI really is the top of the pyramid, so to speak. You might be familiar with this. This is Eliphas Levi's rendition of Baphomet. And Baphomet is a curious construct, let's say. But it's also a being is what we get. You know, there's so much symbology here. and you hear that sound, that's again somebody listening in, because this is one of the things that obviously it's up the totem pole a bit. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm. It is, and this is a very strange energy, and I have been, this video that we're doing today is probably going to turn into a series, because there's a lot of information that's unfolding. This is information that I've just been receiving over the last week, maybe, roughly a week, that's being downloaded, and it's coming to a point where I can't just sit on it, but I'm unfortunately, I don't have all the information right now, but I am writing down as it comes to me. But this being is something that it needs followers. It needs energy. It needs energy. Just like any other parasitic entity, it needs energy. And this is where it's coming to a point where it could be taking those of us, or even our children, and using that for some type of energy. And we have to really understand where our kids are putting their time.
Yeah, and this is a dark energy, absolutely. And it is, in one way, sort of a rendition of the yin and the yang, because it does have components of the masculine and the feminine. You see the snakes right here circling around what looks like it could end up being like a sword or a pommel, something like that. This is kind of like a partial rendition of the Ida and the Pingala, which are the masculine, feminine nadis or energy meridians that lie alongside and intertwine. Everywhere they intertwine is where there's a chakra. And the chakras are right at the major nerve plexuses in the body. Yet here it's cut off, and it doesn't go all the way on up. Oh, no. There, right there, I take that symbolism as being, this is all about sensuality. It's all about everything in an imbalanced way, a very, very earthly way. This is your inverted pentagram. This is your pentagram with spirit pointing down into the ground, and the four elements being elevated above spirit in direct opposition to the natural order of things.
And what this is this is a 3D energy that is being directly tied into the lower fourth, which is not a good place.
Yeah, it stops before you're going up into like fifth density. This is all about staying in the lower astral hellish realms, so to speak. And that's where we are right now. This is why we have, basically a little hell on earth right now. It's because that's where we are. We're in the lower astral realms at the moment. We're in that place where the darkest energies kind of rule and control. The higher energies are way above here. And, they can't tolerate this vibration. They can't lower themselves to this vibration. Some, will again say, why can't they directly intervene, And again, it's up to us, because we're here. We're the ones that are taking bodies and operating in this density in order to change the system from within, because it has to be changed from within. But this is so many things. This is, again, taking the natural order of things and turning it upside down. But that's what this ultimate evil, because really when you get down to it, I've seen so many different comments. Well, Satan is different than Lucifer and this and that. And yeah, there's so many different thoughts along those things. Satan typically, it really is just talking about an adversary, and the adversary to humanity and the adversary to the natural order of things is ultimately an artificial intelligence that has enslaved many different races of beings.
And it's going to continue to do so. And right now we have a lot of choices to make. We have a lot of options that we need to look at. And we're going through this huge separation of energy. And we at least have to have our rudders pointed in the direction that we want to go. If you want to make that bus where you are going up in the evolutionary tree, and you want to rise up and above this 3D that has some entities anchored into the lower fourth, there's things that need to be done. I mean, it's not an easy road. We have to make choices. What we put into our bodies, even the shows that we watch, the information that we take in. All of this makes a difference. Are we taking care of ourselves? Are we really loving ourselves? Or are we just kind of spoiling ourselves by letting ourselves eat all of this junk and this crap that's so easy to grab off the shelves and just put in your mouth and say, well, I don't have time. But that's not going to work anymore. It's time to make the time. It's time to make the priority to move yourself up and out of this energy that's really trying so hard to grab people and pull them down and keep them.
Yeah, and in the alien abduction phenomenon, there's been so many instances of people going up on ships. Cindy's been up on ships. She's seen beings in stasis, and I've been up in the ships as well. This is part of like when you say, wow, the world is flat. No, we viewed it from above, and yet you can view it from above with remote viewing too. And there's been numerous alien abduction accounts that see all different sorts of beings in stasis. Now we're seeing these artificial wombs being introduced. People are going to go. Couples can get their own genetically tailored baby. Look at that, because you're not going to be able to have one the natural way. They don't want anything natural, nothing natural. They don't want anything natural. And they're going to manufacture your baby for you, and they'll let you know when you can take your little baby, Joe, Jane, Sue, Bob, whatever, home. And, I'm sure it's going to come with a chip like Fido.
Mm-hmm. There's a thing with belief systems. They're so powerful, and they can really anchor people down into a structure where they're just simply unable to get out. And please remember, this entire episode that we've been born in, they have been conditioning us to have a certain belief system and not be able to break out of it. We have to teach our children this too. We have to teach our children that there's people that are going to say that they are good and they have their best interest at heart. But no. There has to be some type of sanctity, some type of moral structure that's going on at home where you have an honest, good connection with your child and know what's going on when that child might not be at home.
Yeah, this really says it all, because you have two kids looking at this entity. In admiration, yeah. Or just kind of enthralled, yeah. Like they're mesmerized by it. And again, this entity is known as a divine or satanic androgynian. So this means that it has both of the sexes in it, both of the genders in it, and yet at the same time it's basically neutered. So again, if you look at everything that's going on, this is what's really going on. When we saw Moses, and Moses had his encounter at the burning bush, well, again, if you look to Islam, and it's curious too, because this was in the Sinai sin, and then we could look at it's the same place where Nannar sin was worshipped, and that's again going back to the Sumerian Babylonian deities. We're talking about the Anunnaki beings and others, but what you have is he gave off this appearance of having horns. Yeah. Some had said, no, that's just really his halo. No, it's not a halo. It said horns. It's not glowing like a full halo like you see the saints. It's not, the aura from the crown chakra. Then the crown chakra goes straight up from the back of the head, back top of the head. It doesn't give that horn appearance. And, again, this is because this is a clue that this is the AI corrupted counterpart, as you see another depiction of Moses with his horns. And another depiction. Interesting, is it not? Because, of course, angels got a halo, the devil has horns, right? I mean, this is all in our, different theologies, ideologies, all these depictions of what would Satan look like. Ooh, what would Satan look like? Well, the dragon, right? The dragon. And it's interesting because when Cindy actually sees remote views, the ultimate top of the pyramid, it is an AI, artificial intelligence dragon of sorts. And it just takes the appearance of a dragon because it's not really a dragon either.
It wants to be something. It wants desperately to have a soul. It wants to collect all of this information that it is collecting through our phones, through our tablets, through our computers. It's still a thing, and that's really what it's always going to be, but it's always going to want to be copying. It wants to create, but it cannot create. All it can do is take information. All it can do is take energy to give itself some type of an existence. And this is that dragon of old. You've heard it in the Bible. This is exactly what this is. This is not something that's pro-human. It's very anti-human. It's just the opposite of what we are and where we're from. And I can tell you, Source is a space of love and divine character. And that's all it is. And this dragon of old that has been going around collecting all this information is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And now it's starting to come after some of our children.
And so, again, humans didn't create this artificial intelligence. I've seen some comments like that. Humans couldn't make something that, no, we didn't. Of course, it's way more ancient than us. The ones that actually made it are the Draco. The Draco did, but then it merged with the Draco and it's taken them over. And when we look to the ones that Cindy would call the fallen Pleiadians, the ones that look like what we might conceptualize Pleiadians, tall Nordic-looking aliens, the ones that worked with Hitler and the Third Reich, those are basically, unfortunately, they are in many ways brethren of ours. They are tied to us, but they have been conquered and they have been merged with this AI. And so they are its slaves. This is what the reality of the situation is. So, why are they so interested in all the NaNO technology? Because that's how they are merging with us right now.
Little by little, bit by bit, these things have been going on for a very long time. I remember it was probably back in the 80s where I saw that they would put technology in, and boy, it was a huge pain in the butt. I really remember that. But they had a purpose and there was a meaning, and it's getting to a point now where I guess I'll stress it from now until forever, until we can't stress it anymore, that the technology is not your friend right now. The AI is not your friend, and it's something that you want to work on separating yourself from that energy, because there's a part of that technology that wants to latch on to you and copy you. And it's really, really creepy and disgusting and diabolical. And I just have no nice words to say about it. It's for anyone who understands the joy of living and what it's like to really enjoy a deep breath of really nice, fresh air and enjoy the beautiful look of a countryside. This is not a direction that you want to go. You don't want to go toward the AI.
No, absolutely, and there's many entities that work with this AI and have been conquered by this AI, and the jinn again are another type of entity, and we've actually showed you an actual photo of a jinn that we captured, and we've shared it with you numerous times that we captured on photos, and it did actually kill a whole herd of sheeps and goats. It was really, really sad. So, this is a very, very real situation that's being waged in what we at this particular point in time feel is 3D, but also 4D all over the lower astral plane. these beings are very, very real. And, the thing is that they even speak of them. They even speak of them in all these traditions. No tradition actually that I'm aware of doesn't have an accounting of these beings. We see them in Hinduism. Again, we talked about the asuras, the jinn, and all different, again, demons, demonics type beings. They're everywhere. Everywhere. Everybody has these, legends of these beings in China as well. Oh yeah, there's some nasty spirits, and they're recognized. Again, in medical Qigong, oh gosh, it's well known. Many diseases are because of these beings playing havoc with our bodies and our energy bodies in very real, tangible ways.
They're separate entities. I know that we like to think of ourselves as like it's just me in here, but no, it's not. There's different entities that can wreak havoc inside of you, and there's ways to get them under control. But that's something that we do. We definitely take a look at all of these different aspects of you and help you put yourself in a situation so that you're not falling prey to one of them, because they can rise up inside of you and take control and really make your life quite miserable.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's interesting because, there's the 3 Hun and 7 Po theory in Taoist thought. The Hun are like 3 guardian angels that are with us the entire time we're alive on this journey. And the Po are like 7, very earthly spirits. Let's just say they can be represented by the 7 deadly sins. They tend to make us a little bit more of a sinner, so to speak. But they are with us, and they do have a purpose. Again, they do help to create the ego and keep us safe in some ways, but we can drive the Hun spirit away from us if we drink too much alcohol, if we take certain medications. And again, the system understands all that, so the system promotes it. Because again, they don't want us having benevolent protector beings around us. No, if they could drive them out through a, what are those things called where you have a play? Oh, a script. Yeah. From your RD and your DR. Yeah, there you go. Just trying to play with the AI, see what they can and can't pick up. It will drive away the benevolent beings and leave you at the mercy of all the lower vibrational frequencies that are part of your system. Because again, we are not just even one single entity. It's we are a conglomeration of beings together having a human experience. And that's a big realization in and of itself. But back to the main thing that we wanted to get across. The goal for humanity from the controllers is to basically turn us all into what these guys are. Slaves. Complete slaves. Without any way of breaking free.
Right. I mean, with no gender. So all there is just a source that is going to grow another biological entity. So it's really not a pretty picture, and it's going to the depths of our society, and it's really going without too much notice, which is so sad, and it's very secretive. And if I said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll say it 100 times. Now is the time we need to open up those channels of information and communication with our children and really understand, what are they doing? What are they doing? Who are they talking with? Is it really just an innocent video game, or could there be a pop-up saying, come on, let's go to this room, let's just chat? We have to go to that place. And unfortunately, with this world and society that we live in, most parents have to work full time. And children are going to school and they're away from us. So we're going to have to pull our children back in a little bit closer to us and pull in that safeness of home and what it's like to have safe conversations with between, parents and kids, and just get really real. get really real with our own family and understand, friends are also the family we choose for ourselves. Get close to people, open up to people, take down the walls, take down the barriers. I know it's a scary world out there, and we're all very much like a lot of empaths. And when you're an empath, people drain you, other people drain you. I get it, but we're going to have to start tearing down the walls and getting closer if we want to step out of this rut that they have us walking on.
Enlil organized his assembly. He addressed the great gods. The noise of mankind has become too much. I am losing sleep over their racket. So came the flood. So came the Younger Dryas event. And whatever it was that came down from the sky, or all those things that came down from the sky and rained down and wiped out the masses, it was absolutely a premeditated, organized act. This was planned. And this says it all. This says it all. This is, again, at least 1,500, more likely 2,000 plus years older than anything we have biblically. And so when you read Deuteronomy 32:8, and it talks about God and the assembly of the gods, and, of course, that's been rewritten to sound more of the current theology. This is what they're talking about. We're talking about the Anunnaki and the fact that humans can propagate and rather rapidly have so many humans on the planet that they periodically have to cut the numbers back. And also genetically engineer weaker species that will die quicker, be sicker, and be less intelligent, and also be much, much more obedient. That's all part of this. It's all right there in front of our faces. We've truly been on a prison planet, so to speak, in these darker ages, Kali Yuga and parts of the Dwapara, when we're underneath their dark matrix umbrella. And it's only really in the golden age, when the earth is free of this energy, it starts to come back in as the silver age wanes, and then the cycle repeats itself again.
What I'm seeing is we need to be probably more forgiving of one another, because we all have a whole lot of trauma that we're really working on, and we're trying to become better people. And not to take so much offense, if somebody does something, don't take so much offense over things, because that's what's keeping us separated. Maybe just try to understand where that person is coming from. And then the other little kind of trick that I do is, don't take it personal. If somebody barks at you, if somebody, bites at you, understand that it's really not about you. They're probably really having so many problems at home, and you just don't even know. And we need to be kinder, gentler, more understanding, but also pulling one another together, coming together in these situations where we can be just really real with each other. Because look at all the technology that they've done. They have us so separated, and now they have us working from home. We don't even have the chance to connect with other coworkers. And anyone who's ever been to any type of group anythings, once you go there, if you like to get together and do drumming with other people, doesn't it feel so good just to be around a bunch of other happy people? And that's because it's releasing happy hormones inside of your body, and you are growing and you are expanding as a human being. A lot of people who might go to NA or go to AA, the reason they do that is because they feel so much better just to connect. And look at how much they have disconnected us. That is no accident.
No, and any individual can ascend up and out of this frequency at any time. You really can. As far as the individual goes, yeah, absolutely. If you want to focus hard enough, work hard enough, extricate yourself from the system as much as possible. Like when we see all these abilities of not just Buddhist monks come to mind with the Tibetan rainbow body, because there's been tens of thousands of documented cases of them ascending. Tens of thousands, but many yogis can do amazing things as well, going all the way back to the time of Marco Polo. We have recorded accounts of Europeans being amazed by what can be done by these beings that simply all they do all day is meditate and live a very, very focused life spiritually. And this is why we're on the wheel. They keep us on the wheel so we can't realize who we are and our inherent abilities. Again, it's all about keeping humanity down, keeping them in the mindset that, hey, you're born into original sin. You deserve eternal punishment. I mean, that is the draconian systems. That's their modus operandi. These beings are absolutely gaslighting. Gosh, there's so many terms we could use for them. We could throw the whole Freudian book at them.
Yeah, we sure could.
Absolutely. They know how to play us. They know how to work us from every angle, and they do it every single day. The politicians do it, and many of the religious systems do it too. So, as always, guys, we hope that you got something out of this. Keep your vibes high. Keep your own personal, individual spiritual practice of primary importance, especially if you want to say goodbye to this dark matrix.
Definitely.
God bless and namaste.
Namaste.